I'm thinking of submitting a really short lightning talk, like a real dive into WASM. But I was wondering if anyone else is doing any WASM or workshop on WASM longer stuff for Osteocon.
I certainly haven't heard, but I've sort of been out of the loop for the last couple of weeks. I haven't heard brought up in the group. Maybe Mandar or Peter. Do you guys know if anyone is doing any WASM related talks at Osteocon?
No, I'm not. Well, actually, I think Solo and Tetrate probably are. Is anyone from them on the call?
No, not right now.
My thought was that this work group needs more people into WASM and looking at it, so that it would be the best help for the community if there was something on it. But I lack the patience to really do a 2-hour workshop. So I'll submit something short and see what the program committee thinks, if they think 10 minutes is the right length for that.
So Ed, I am in the program committee, and I can tell you that we love any talks you submit. So don't worry about the length, and if the content is good, but we feel like the length is too long or short, we can always reach and we can adjust that way.
Okay, great.
And I guess
Peter, are you on the call? I'm not sure if he is.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think we can. I mean, since you already have a lot of recent stuff that's kind of in the works, maybe you should consider having a talk. But yeah, think about it. But I think I think you have quite a bit of stuff that you can present.
Yeah, I could do a 40-minute talk on it if people thought that was the right length. Off the record, even though this is probably being recorded, I was not super excited about the WASM talks at KubeCon. So I wanted to do something that was both easier and more thorough in either 10 or 40 minutes.
Niraj, do you want to take a second to plug the details, like when the final submission date is for Osteocon?
Oh, geez, I don't remember the dates, man.
I believe it's the 18th in 5 days.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's real soon.
We look it over. Yeah, it's 18th January. So another week or so, give or take, 5 days.
Okay, Ed, were you looking for anyone to join you with that, or you just didn't want to conflict with anyone?
So I was looking for two things. If anyone said they were already going to do like a big workshop or something but needed help, I was going to volunteer. If anyone said that they already were going to do an intro thing, I was going to not conflict. But it sounds like nobody is. So I'm going to push forward on like a basics to advanced intro to get more people excited about WebAssembly.
Hey, Niraj, are there, like, since you're on the committee, are there any submissions, like just to kind of complete the question that Ed is asking? Is there anything else on?
I think there are 1 or 2, but not many. So that's why I was encouraging Ed to submit.
Okay, all right, good.
I figured the people here are the people who would know about this. No one on usability was wanting to do submissions, so I'm thinking, this is a good space to do it.
Anything else we should talk about related to that, or should we move on?
Move on.
All right. Nathan, I see that you are here today and you've had something on the future agenda for probably about a month now. Do you want to talk about writing good integration tests now?
Sure.
Okay. Should I open that link?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I've already been kind of making the rounds. I think this is the last working group. Just for completeness, likely many of you have already seen this, but we had a bit of an issue when we were trying to convert over our integration tests so that they were basically all kind of multi-cluster, just so we don't have to test so many different combinations of things. Just everything's multi-cluster, and we're just automatically testing effectively every feature with all the various combinations of multi-cluster. While we were doing that transition, however, there were a few tests that were being added that kind of crept in that ultimately didn't test multi-cluster. So I just want to kind of go through kind of like an overview of real quick of just things to think about when we're writing our integration tests. Obviously, rule number one, keep test times low. This especially becomes an issue when writing tests that leverage multiple clusters. Just provisioning the clusters themselves takes a bit of time. And if we're actually sending traffic to and from each cluster, that adds as well. So there's a few, I won't go into the details, but there are a few little tricks for how to kind of optimize the tests so they don't take super long. Rule number two, if we scroll down, yeah, don't be flaky. Should be obvious, but I think probably, I'm not sure if we agreed on the TOC for how to deal with flaky tests, I guess, in our process. But if you do see a flaky test, you should probably, if you see something, say something. We should probably raise an issue. Obviously, if it's not your flake, you probably don't have to deal with it. But we should at least raise awareness and try to get it fixed. Using feature labels, this is something we're trying to track. What exactly are we testing? So when you do add a new test, try to assess the features that you're testing and make sure that if the feature labels don't exist, add them, and yeah, just make sure that we can actually track what you're testing. So rule number 4, that's the one that bit us, is use all clusters. So the test framework has an abstraction of cluster, and we now basically that the set of clusters is flexible. Like, you don't know from the test itself how many clusters you're going to have. It's kind of passed in as a bootstrap argument to the test framework. So your test should just effectively take whatever clusters you're given and just run your test, kind of scale up your test to cover all of those clusters. Now, the nice thing is that you don't have to worry about like all the details of what's going on behind the scenes. Like, are those clusters VMs, or are we using a multi-primary or primary remote configuration for multi-cluster? We don't care. Your test just needs to deploy things to each cluster and verify that the test works in all the combinations from every cluster to every other cluster. Yeah, so you can read the details there, but that's the basic idea. And then this last one is kind of more of a nit, but there were a few cases where folks were kind of using the built-in Go things for doing things like cleaning up and whatnot. But check out the framework and use framework features whenever possible. So like, use the framework test context instead of testing.t, as well as like the cleanup capabilities. So minor nit, but yeah, the other ones are probably more of a focal point here. Anyway, that's all I got. If anybody has any questions, otherwise, back to you.
Do you have links to good examples from here or someplace? If not, it would be great to just add it here.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely add that. Effectively, look at the networking tests, because they're probably the pilot tests, in other words, under the integration folder.
Okay.
Stephen Landau has been kind of like leading this effort for kind of minimizing the test times and reducing flakiness and all that stuff. So yeah, I can certainly add a link here.
Hey Nate, this is good work. Are you following these on a dashboard somewhere? I know Mitch has created a dashboard. So if you're planning to make improvements, how are we following that? Test selecting less time and all those.
There is nothing tracking this right now. For now, this is just an FYI to the team for how to write good tests. Yeah, we are, as far as I know, we're not tracking like test time, between commits, across commits, or anything like that. So that would probably be a separate effort entirely.
Okay. But this is a good one. Thank you, Nate.
Mm-hmm.
And Shraddha, thanks for the reminder. I'm sharing my screen, hopefully the Flakes dashboard.
Yeah.
You're mentioning, and everyone who develops code should be paying attention to this, just to see if you have tests or you've written tests that have turned out to be flaky, and we're trying to hunt them down and reduce the number of flakes and the hours wasted with flakes.
Yeah, thanks, Doug, for bringing it up. So we are planning to go over little deep dive on this dashboard. We didn't get the time this working group leads this week. So we are planning to do it following week. Anybody who's planning to join, please do so. I think we can do a couple of improvements on the dashboard in terms of alerts and stuff, but I think this is a very good start from Mitch, a really good one.
Awesome. Okay. The next thing on the agenda that I wanted to go over, just because it's, I guess, feature freeze day, and I haven't talked to most of the people in this working group in a while, is the status of our features that we said we were going to try and track for 1.9. I've taken a stab at some of them in terms of green, red, and yellow, but I wanted to get feedback from the working group on some of these items. So I think in the issues that we said that the request classification, we believe that it's now at beta status, and so I'm marking that as green and done, unless there's an objection.
No, I think that's fine. There is more stuff to be done, but that's on the feature side. So I think we can call the feature as it is beta.
I think with the tracing API, there's still discussions, and given that today is the feature freeze, I think it's fair to say that that's not happening for the 1.9 release. Out of mesh metadata, Peter, do you feel like this is right being green?
Yeah, sorry, I haven't finished the integration test. It has been pending for a while, but after after today, I'm going to revive that integration test and make it work again. And after that, I think it's fine to mark it green. I will make sure that when I branch would have that integration test.
Right. So we said it was going to be alpha support. So I think we're okay declaring alpha even without the integration test.
Yeah, this is not really a feature that we need to go through the whole feature release phases, but yeah, I don't know whether alpha or beta makes sense to this. But yeah, anyway, yeah, if we feel like alpha is the right word, then yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for the documentation, have we started work on that? Should I mark that as yellow?
Yeah, we can mark it as yellow. Yeah.
Kawat, how do we feel about WASM beta promotion?
I think this is not about that. It's just a doc saying what it means to be beta promotion.
Right.
But yeah, I haven't done it.
Started?
I haven't done it. You should. But it's not a code, so I think I still have time.
Okay. I'll mark it as yellow. Peter, you're on the hot seat again.
Yeah, this is yellow as well, but I will also try to get it down.
And Kawat or Ed, how do we feel about the analyzers and Istio filter usage?
No work done there. So
I didn't write any of them.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and mark that as red because I think that we're not going to get there. I have not done anything extra for multi-cluster scenarios. I think we talked about changing some of the metrics to be default, but and adding a bunch of more tests. I don't think that we're there yet, so I'm marking that as not done. Daniel and Kawat.
Doug, but didn't Nupur add a bunch of multi-cluster tests, or was that not for OSS?
We did change some of our integration tests to be multi-cluster.
Okay.
I don't know if that qualifies us enough to get to beta. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'll mark this as yellow, and
Yeah, I
I'll
think yellow
do
is
some
fine.
more digging there. Quentin, Daniel, I know that we've had.
But that one's not gonna include making those cluster name fields default, though. You're still gonna have to configure your cluster for multi-cluster, right?
That is correct. There were no changes there. I don't think that would be a significant code change. If so, maybe I could try and look at that today and see if it could possibly. I don't know if we've already made the cut or not. But I could probably turn that around in an hour or two. So maybe I should.
It's okay either way. I mean, I would like to see it be default, but it's not necessary.
Okay. Let's see what the day looks like. Kwat and Daniel, I know that there are several docs now floating around for extension distribution APIs. Do we feel like we'll have one ready to go by 1.9 release?
I think Daniel is not here, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's very unlikely. We have just discussion started, and it's not close to actual API.
Right. So I think even with almost a month more, I still would call it as red. There is the alternative which is not listed here, but the work that Peter is kind of in flight of doing for extension distribution. So, I mean, I guess we don't have to add it retroactively here, but that is the reason why this can maybe slip a little bit more.
Okay. Let's put that in the comments. Okay. For the next item, I marked it as red because I've done nothing in terms of BTS.
Neither have I. Does anyone from networking, Neeraj, do you know how far is BTS this time? Like I did not receive any new design doc or anything like that.
Yeah, I haven't, and I haven't attended any networking meetings. I did attend one after the holidays, but we didn't discuss this. So I would say no updates unless John knows more.
No, I think it's been mostly worked on by Yu-Chen, who's been out for a couple of months. I think he's back soon, but
okay. And then I know Carolyn's been doing a bunch of work on the dashboards. So I put that as yellow just because hopefully they make it into 1.9. But I'm not sure how strict we're going to be on whether or not they can be cherry picked back. But there are a bunch of pending PRs related to Grafana dashboards that we should.
We should try getting them in, and hopefully the 1.9 release manager would be okay cherry picking a few because they have been reviewed and they have been in flight for a while.
Yep. Okay. Thanks everyone. I just wanted to make sure we had that. I know that there's an email going out with that status to everyone later this week, so I wanted to make sure we had that fully covered. The other thing I wanted to bring up was the community testing sign-up sheet. This is for asynchronous testing. I encourage everyone to find 2 telemetry-related or extensions-related test cases and pick them until we have all of the tests that need to be run covered. In addition, we were supposed to pick tests to automate. And I think that if, let me see if I share this tab. I believe at some point I may have asked someone to do some. So if I put your name like Mandar and Niraj, I just, sorry to put you on the spot. I picked some tests that maybe you might be interested in helping to automate. So feel free to assign them to someone else, or let me know if that's not okay. But
No,
those are ones.
it's fine, Doug. No problem.
Okay.
Hey,
So
Doug,
Does that? Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Shilva.
sorry, I was just saying, Doug, thanks for doing that. Can you also add the group name so that I know which groups have done the job and nag on the others which haven't?
Oh yes.
Just the name, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No worries. But PNT, even though our group name changes.
Sorry, Neeraj, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, as long as this doesn't have to be before the freeze date or something, then we'll get it done. Either me or someone else from Aspen Mesh will.
Shweta, is it okay if it comes in the next couple weeks and not today?
As long as it's completing within the asynchronous time frame, which is starting next week and will go over for 2 weeks. So Neeraj, you still have 3 weeks.
Okay. Yes. Anything in a week time frame for me is very difficult.
Yeah. Thank
We'll
you.
get it done.
Okay. And continuing on with some of the working group leads meeting agenda, I wanted everyone to take a look at the features on our official feature status page and see if we believe that we're missing features or commenting about the wrong set of features, especially as it relates to observability and extension.
If you intended to open the page, we can't see it.
Yep, sorry. Thank you. So this is the feature status page. As you can see, it's probably not totally inclusive. And we might disagree with some of the features as they're listed and their status. So we can either review this now, or we can everyone could take an action to sort of look at that and discuss what's missing, what shouldn't be there. For instance, logging, I don't see anything related to logging. I don't know if if we want to mention WASM for extensions somewhere in this set.
Yeah.
Anyone have any thoughts?
Yeah, no, I think we surely do have to mention WASM somewhere here. So okay, I'll take a look at this page.
Okay. And I'll follow up with you then offline, Mandar.
Yep.
Okay. And then the last thing that we were asked to do, and again, this can be done sort of offline, but I wanted to make sure everyone was aware of it, is there's a draft of the year-long roadmap. And so if we feel like as a group there are features missing that we think should be addressed this year, now is the time to raise that. And also in the opposite direction, if we feel like there are things that just aren't going to be addressed or already have been addressed, this is the place to raise that. So I wanted everyone to be aware, and let me share the roadmap screen actually with everyone. So you can see there's only 3 extension features on the roadmap right now, and we might want to think about some additional observability features, etc. So please take a look at that.
So Doug, the way this 2021 roadmap came along was I picked up the spillover work from 2020. So all the working group leads have helped mark the ones which are done. The ones which were not done during 2020 were taken over to 2021. And then I compared that with what was presented in 1.9. That is also now added to the end of this sheet. I was talking to Louis and Swain, just preliminary discussion on this yesterday. We should also add some of the stability work, because this year is going to be, all the TOC members mentioned that this year we want the product to be stable. So if we can add some of the features which can help with the stability, that will be great too.
Great. Yeah, and so I know this can be hard to sort of digest right now for everyone. So please take a look over the next 2 weeks, add comments, jot down notes, etc., and we can come back and maybe take a closer look at the end of the month. Does that sound fair? Is that the right timeline, or do you need input before then, Shota?
Sorry, go ahead again.
When do we want the feedback to be sort of finalized for this roadmap? What is the
When do
time?
you, yeah, that's a good question. I would actually give the question back to you. When do you think you are comfortable giving the feedback to me? Because in the working group leads, we discussed that I will connect with each individual group leads, one offline discussion once you discuss that in your working group meeting. So when do you think I can connect? Because there are some of them, John has gone through this list offline. There are some of them he feels like they are done, but they are not marked done. And then there are still certain features which are missing, as you were just mentioning. So when do you think you guys are done and I can connect with you?
Okay, so I think we should probably all take a look at this over the next 2 weeks and then have a discussion at next week's meeting. And then after that, be ready to discuss with you.
Okay,
or,
awesome.
2 weeks from now, this meeting. Yeah.
2 weeks sounds good, because I was hoping to complete that in January and publish for the whole community. So that sounds good. Thank you, Doug.
So I don't have anything else on the agenda. Are there other things that people have run into now that we're sort of everyone's back and looking at 1.9 that they want to discuss or raise or highlight?
So one thing, and then this is for kind of next year's agenda, right? So one thing I would like to put there is telemetry for middle proxy, and sort of we produce some telemetry with middle proxy, which just becomes a gateway. But I think that there is, like, in some modes of deployment, we could do a lot better with the middle proxy. So that's one of the things that I would like us to consider for 2021.
Okay. On a related note, should we put anything about eBPF generated telemetry or anything along those lines?
Yeah. So there is. I mean, yes, but potentially, but we should. Yeah, we can definitely think about that as well.
Okay. Any other ideas that jump off the page that someone wants to mention right now, or? Okay. Any other items at the working group to discuss?
I have one item if there is nothing else.
Yeah.
There was some discussion going on to update the docs page for the contents which are stale. So we may get some contractor, but I can't promise. What I have been asked is if we can generate the list from each working group for their area where they can help us understand what are the pages which needs update. That will be great. So that way we can look for contractors and the time, effort, and how long will it take. If you can generate that information from your group, that will be great.
Okay, so can we use the same set of pages that are in the testing sheet? Okay.
Yeah, if there are pages which are not in the testing sheet, I know Jacob this time has done a great job by going through all the pages. If there are pages you feel like they're not in the testing sheet but still needs update, let me know that as well. So I know somebody also reached out. One of the architecture mentioned was still mentioning pilot, and other areas, galley and it should be removed with istod. I do not recall which page was that, but those will be helpful.
Okay. So
do you want me to start a new template for that so that it do not mix up with the testing sheet and people don't get confused?
Sure. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to be too much or.
Yeah. Yeah. So why don't you just compare whenever you have time to compare with the testing sheet, and if you feel like that needs an update, just add it to the doc, like a new sheet.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Does anyone else have anything they think we should talk about today? Pressing issues? Okay.
Nope.
With that, I think sign off.
All right. Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.